So I've been reading the comments on my Dirt to Midas video, and a lot of people are like, wow, Nullzee, you got 1.8 mil in 4 hours. That's crazy, I spent like 2 months playing Skyblock, and I only have 500k. So basically, I'm going to be going over all the ways I can think of for you to make your first 1 million coins. Because I feel like that's a nice starting point where you have enough money to buy some good items and you can really get started in Skyblock. So let's just get started. First money making method, you guys are gonna love this. It's Zealots. I know, who would have guessed? Who would have thought? Yeah, not me, that's for sure. Now before you click off the video and say, wow, he's just telling me to grind Zealots, I already knew that. Grinding Zealots still is technically the best way to make money in Skyblock, but I know some people have a mental block against it, including me, so I'm just gonna go over it really quickly, and then we're gonna move on to some more money making methods. Hang on, this... I'm getting sidetracked here. This Ender artifact, I'm trying to flip this for 9.5 mil. Why is he bidding 14.5 mil? This guy has 0 brain cells. Anyway, back to the video. Okay, so to grind Zealots, come here to the end, go to the Dragon's Nest, and just start smacking some of the Endermen that are down here. Preferably you can one-tap them, but I know most people who haven't got a mil yet aren't even close to that. So what I would recommend is to get full Ender armor and a Raider's axe and just go around two-shotting them. Because two-shotting them increases the probability of getting an eye, so it's not even too bad if you aren't one-shotting them. Like sure, you're not going to get the max money output, but it'll definitely get you over the 1 mil mark. Now I know Zealot grinding does have some flaws. You need to actually be able to two-shot them, so you need Ender armor, Raider's axe, and quite a few talismans and decent combat level. So if you don't want to do that, then there's a lot of other methods. Method number 2 is my favorite. Auction flipping plus bazaar flipping at the same time. Now obviously this one does take a little bit of brain power, but I have made like 5 videos on it. I'm not going to go into too much detail in this video on auction and bazaar flipping. Just go watch my other 5 videos. So here's an example. This is what I'm flipping right now. Ender artifacts and tarantula talismans. I'm buying them for a little bit under market value, but they're just at the point where if you overbid them, you're giving quite a bit of overpay. So there's quite a high chance that I'll get some of these items. Apart from this dude who decided to put 14.5 mil on an Ender artifact. It's good on him. And so while you're doing that, you want to be coming to the bazaar and doing a little bit of flipping wherever you can. So if I look at it right now, I'm sure I could find a couple items that I might want to flip. Okay, so the margins on enchanted diamond blocks are actually really good right now. So I'm actually gonna flip these. We're gonna put some bids on those. But basically you want to just be looking for anything with good margins. There's a bunch of other videos. I'll put one in the description. The guy did a really good job making the video, so he deserves to have it seen. So yeah, you want to be auction flipping, and then while all your bids are going through and all your items are selling and you have a little bit of extra money, go to the bazaar and flip that for a little bit of extra profit. If you combine these two and you do it well, you can make way more than Zealot grinding. It's so much better, but you actually have to know what you're doing, which is why it's kind of a little bit difficult to do. So if your brain cells are small and you can't figure out auction flipping and bazaar flipping, and you also don't want to grind Zealots, then guess what? There's a couple other methods that are perfect for you. First method, make yourself a pumpkin farm. Amazing, I know. I would recommend leeching god pots off some guild. That's what I'm really good at. I go into random hubs and I leech god pots. Because if you don't have god pots, you're kind of slow. Based on my testing earlier, I could get around 300k an hour farming pumpkins with god pots. So definitely is pretty profitable. Not quite as good as Zealots, but doesn't take nearly as much investment. You just have to build a pumpkin farm, which takes quite a bit of time. But you do that for a couple of hours and you're at your first mil. Easy. You can also do sugarcane. It gives you about 50k more than doing pumpkins, but it gives quite a bit less farming XP. So if you want to do sugarcane, definitely can do. I would do pumpkins just because of the extra skill, but sugarcane is definitely a possibility too. Okay, so the next one's kind of interesting, and you don't hear many people talking about it. The Spooky Fest is actually really good for making money. So for me, the next Spooky Festival's happening in 2.5 days. I don't have enough time to wait around and record the Spooky Festival, but I can kind of describe what you're going to be doing to get money in the Spooky Festival. So if you go over to the bazaar, you'll be able to see that purple candies are about 8k each. And someone who does well in the Spooky Festival and they get over the 2,400 candies will be getting about 4 stacks of purple. Now, I know someone who doesn't have a mil coins yet isn't going to be doing that well, so we'll just assume they can get 48 to 64 purple candies in a Spooky Festival. This is assuming they don't have a bow, they don't have a spooky set, they don't have any of the talismans or anything. I think 48 to 64 purple is reasonable if you have like a good strat and everything. If you're doing the Spooky Festival with a sword, there are 3 places I would recommend doing it. Here in the ruins, over in the Howling Cave in the park, and over in the Crypt Ghoul area in the graveyard. These are all pretty good if you don't have a bow. You can run around and smack all the mobs and get candy. So if you manage to get 48 to 64 purple candy, you'll be getting around 350k to 500k from that hour of grinding, which isn't bad at all. And you also get a little extra bonus for completing the Spooky Festival, like the event rewards, so that's a little bit of extra money you can get. Here's another thing that's basically free money. I talked about this in my Dirt to Midas video, but I just want to make sure everyone understands what I was doing in that video because it wasn't really that clear. So here I have 10,000 coins and we're going to go to any merchant, let's say the Adventurer, and let's just buy all of his gunpowder out. Alright, so we have 3,700 coins left, and if we take this to the bazaar and sell it at the bazaar, we should be getting quite a bit of profit. So here, you can 15,000 coins for selling that gunpowder, and that's not even all of it. If you go and you put a sell offer in, you can get even a little bit more, so you can get 16k. I usually can't be bothered. I'm just going to insta-sell it. I know it makes people sad. I really don't care. So we just doubled our money there, and if you do that for every single item that every NPC sells, you can get quite a bit of profit. And you also have to remember to do the flint guy over at the graveyard, and the guy in the end who sells obsidian and endstone. Actually, jokes, don't buy obsidian. Obsidian's bad value. But do buy endstone. I'm pretty sure that's good value. We're gonna find that out now. Okay, well, it really wasn't that good. That's alright. But yeah, I would recommend all of these NPCs in here. So let's say we go to the lumber merchant, buy, what's expensive? Jungle? Jungle and spruce are the best ones, I know. But I think spruce has been going down recently because everyone's overusing it. Okay, so spruce is still the best, but jungle's not bad. And if you sell it... Yeah, that was about 2k profit. So if you, just do that for every item. And if you do that every day, you'll be getting quite a bit of money and eventually you'll be at a mil. So here's something I would definitely recommend doing. It's doing minions. Minions are a really easy way of getting money fast if you don't want to invest anything. I did some calculations and I'm going to make the assumption that the average early game player has about 10 minion slots. And so I figured out the 2 minions that are best for an early game player who doesn't have any money to invest. The first one is this gold minion right here who's really sad because his location isn't perfect and I have him sitting here. The gold minion's really good because it gives you quite a lot of money even as a tier 1. And it can also use a compactor, so you don't have to invest in super compactors. I did the calculations, and it turns out that it's 6,000 coins per gold minion if you include the price of a compactor. And this is a tier 1 gold minion. And for each tier 1 gold minion, you'll be making about 28k per day. So if you set up 10 of these, you invest 70k or so, you'll be making about 300k per day. And so in 3 days time, you'll be at a mil. The other possible minion you could do is obsidian minions. Now the problem with these is that they don't take normal compactors. So if you get tier 1 obsidian minions, you're going to have to clear them out quite often. Now a tier 1 obsidian minion costs 7.5k to make, and it outputs 34k per day. So it's a little bit better than the gold minions, but the problem is you can't leave it running for a while and you have to check back on them constantly. This also might mean that they'll fill up overnight. Not too sure, I've never run a tier 1 obsidian minion overnight, so I wouldn't know. So those are the 2 choices for minions. If I was creating a new profile right now, and I didn't know how to AH flip, I would do this minion strat, and I would do Zealot farming. But obviously, because I'm an AH flipper man, I don't need to Zealot farm. But I still have these obby minions down because they make me about 1.5 mil per day, which is really nice. The last money making method I'm going to recommend is Cobble grinding. Now I know this is a bit outdated, people used to do this ages ago, but it still is a viable money making method. You can still sell enchanted cobble for quite a bit of money. And so you can see here that enchanted cobble's going for about 700 coins per. Now, if you do the math, 700 times 64, that's about 45k per stack of enchanted cobble. So if you're grinding cobble, you should be able to get about 4 or 5 stacks of cobble per hour. These are the numbers I've heard from people. You need haste 3 and an efficiency 5 pick, and you just make one of these little contraptions. So you've got water on one side, lava sources on the other side, and you just run through the middle. This actually isn't put together too well. You put teleporters in there, and you just run along it, looking up, and you just mine all the cobble. And the teleporter will teleport you from there back over to here, and you just keep running through over and over again, and you make a lot of cobble. This should get you about 250k an hour. Those numbers are pretty rough. I've never done it myself, but if you're completely out of options, it is viable. I think the key takeaway here is that this game needs more content. The fact that I spent an entire video trying to figure out how you guys could make money, and still the best way I come up with is Zealot farming, is pretty sad in terms of how Skyblock is looking. So I hate to say it, boys, but AH flipping and Zealot grinding are going to be probably your two best options, but as I showed, there are a couple of other ones that you could do if you're just absolutely sick of going down there and farming Zealots. If you guys know any other money-making methods, please let me know in the comments. This game needs more good money-making methods. I need dungeons to come out. Content is dry. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. This is a little bit of a different style of recording for me. Usually I do my voiceovers in post. This time I'm doing them in sync with the gameplay, so I can do things like this. Dirt to Midas Part 2 is coming soon. I'm going to record it right after this, so don't feel like this is slowed down Dirt to Midas. It's coming, my friends. Don't worry. But yeah, if you did enjoy, like, subscribe, that usual thing. And I'll see you guys in Dirt to Midas Part 2. Bye-bye.